Competition truly makes the world go round. For so many years, Storm Collectibles had the figure fighting game market on lock. They had great figures, awesome sculpting. They looked like they came straight out of the game. They had scaling down perfect. E Honda was big and bulky. Sagat was taller than Ryu and Ken. And they had so much great articulation. The engineering was so immaculate, so dead on that I took it as a challenge. Like, what move from the game can these figures not pull off? And then trying to do that, I was like, well, I guess this one pulls off everything. So it was like I would come up with a challenge and they would be able to pull off all of those poses, which was great. Then, of course, we had the accessories and they threw in so much stuff. Things that I wouldn't expect them to include were in there. The Mortal Kombat figures featured fatality accessories, which was really cool and really awesome. It was like, man, this is great. Now, the one thing so many collectors had an issue with was the price. Now, I'm not going to say these were a great deal. I thought the price was fair. It wasn't uncommon to pay anywhere from 85 to as much as $200 for these figures. But every time I got one, opened them, posed, swapped out all the accessories, I was like, well, I don't really feel ripped off. I don't know if I got my money's worth, but I definitely didn't feel like they were taking advantage of me. But I think that opened the door for a competitor to actually step up and provide a decent value where collectors who wanted fighting game figures would go, yes, you got me hooked, keep bringing them. And we saw that with Jada Toys. And for so long, I was like, yeah, okay, great. They've released 5 figures, but are they really the greatest figure line ever? And I've started to collect them. You can see some of the background behind me. I'm pretty much a believer. I'm kind of digging the line, looking forward to everything they put out. And it seems like Storm Collectibles has also taken notice because they released or revealed something this week to challenge Jada Toys straight up on a one-to-one level. We're going to see which figure company truly emerges as the go-to for fighting game figures. Let's break it down right now. What's up, everybody? It's Jeffrey Lyles welcoming you to another edition of Lyles Figure Files. So Wonder Toy or Wonder Festival was going on this week, and we got some really cool reveals, stuff I am so excited to break down soon. But man, let's talk about it. First up, Storm Collectibles revealed for their first time ever their Storm Arena figures. And this was a grayscale and was like, okay, now you notice the scale probably is a lot shorter, a lot smaller than the typical Storm Collectibles figure. And that's because the Storm Arena figures are Jada Toys scale of 6 inches. That's really interesting because, with 6-inch figures, people were able to take their Jada Toys, kind of match them up with their Marvel figures so we could have a little bit of Marvel versus Capcom action. And of course, you couldn't do that with Storm Collectible figures because they were in this weird 7 to 8-inch scale where it just didn't work. But now Jada Toys was like, nah, we got y'all covered. And it seems like the Hasbro Marvel Legends brand is like, all right, there's a line that we can kind of work with. So they're starting to put out more Marvel versus Capcom figures out there to the masses so we can kind of, unofficially have that duo, that partnership with 2 figure lines. And Storm Collectibles, I think, took notice and was like, people are starting to talk about these figures a little bit too much. So that wasn't the only reveal from Wonder Festival. This was the one that got everybody's attention because it was like, uh-oh, they're really interested in coming to business here. They're doing it. And they showed off Street Fighter Alpha 3 versions of Ryu and Ken. And you can look at these figures. These pictures are courtesy of Mr. Lee on Instagram. So check him out, give him a follow. But these figures look really solid. The sculpting, the same quality that we've come to expect. I've come to expect from the Storm Collectibles figures. And they're showing off Ryu and Ken right away. And this is what Storm Collectibles does. They go, we're going strong. We're showing 4, 6 figures. And eventually we'll see them. The articulation is great. The sculpting is dead on. They don't have weak paint. So the paint applications, the shading on the muscles look really good. And these figures look really solid. Let's take a closer look at both Ryu and Ken. Here's a better look at Ryu, and you can see this is that Street Fighter Alpha 3 look, so dead on. You can see the shading here, and that looks really good. The hair sculpt is so great. The headband, you can see the texture there. That looks really good. The gi has a bunch of texturing detail as well, and it's just a really nice looking figure. The pads look good thick. They've also got texture as well. Ryu's eyebrows, of course, are coming up over the headband, and the head sculpt looks good. I definitely have to say, this looks like Street Fighter Alpha 3. The Jada Toys figures, their head sculpts are probably the weakest aspect of those figures, but they kind of make up for it in other ways. But this looks really good. Let's take a look at Ken. Ken also looks great. That Street Fighter Alpha 3 head sculpt, the hair coming down, he's got the bangs going, the eyebrows flaring out just as much. You can see all the texture in the gi. Again, it's not going to be that much different than Ryu. You can see he's got the longer hair going, and that first shot that we saw of both of them shows off some of that articulation, and we see the accessories. So we can see here that Ken's going to have that flaming Shoryuken and that flaming dragon punch. He's gonna have that. Ryu hopefully comes with this stand, because that would be great, and that in itself would be a massive deal, because it's like, great, now we've got something else to help and aid with our figure posing. Now for sure, I find myself using the Storm Collectible fight stands for my Marvel Legends, my DC figures, because it's really good. It's just a ratchet joint that goes up and down, but it holds the figures really tight. And of course, if it's strong enough to keep those 8-inch, 7-inch Storm Collectible figures that are bulky up, it holds Marvel Legend figures. It holds McFarlane DC Multiverse figures up, no problem. If we get that same amount of quality with these stands, that is really going to make a big difference. It might sway me to pick up these figures as well, because it's going to add to my figure display capabilities. Now, you can also see with this picture of both of them, at least Ryu's head sculpt is different. He's got a yelling head sculpt here. Ken has a smiling head sculpt. So it looks like they're going to come with at least two different head sculpts. This one looks like it might actually have a different one as well for you. We got this separate one here with the closed mouth, neutral expression. And then we got this one, smiling one from Ken. So we've got some different options here. That's really good. That's really smart. But what's also interesting on these figures is the price point. They're going to be right up in there with Jada Toys. They're going to be $30. So that is really interesting, because, the big thing with these figures between Jada Toys and Storm Collectibles was that price point. So you can see a look. Storm Collectibles has been paying attention to Jada Toys for a while, but now they can do it a little bit better. Check out on Big Bad Toy Store right now. Fei Long is available from Storm Collectibles, $84. The Storm Collectible, or the Jada Toys Fei Long's $24.99. And it's much fun, and it's many accessories and all kinds of cool display options that Fei Long from Storm Collectibles has. That Jada Toys one is so much fun to pose and do all kinds of cool stuff with. Is it a $60 difference? I don't know. Leave it up to you to decide. I've got too many Storm Collectible Street Fighter figures to go, nah, I don't need them. I am going to, but it's definitely going to be a situation where if Jada Toys tackles Street Fighter Alpha 3 and Storm Collectibles is doing them, I don't know where my money's going to go for a $5 difference. Maybe that stand will actually prove to be the difference and make it worthwhile for me to grab that. But, the issue with Storm Collectibles is, we'll see here with some of their other Wonder Festival reveals, is they can't stay committed to focusing on one figure line. So here you go. This is their Street Fighter 6 figures they've shown off at Wonder Festival. We've got Ryu and his Street Fighter 6 look. We've got M. Bison Grayscale, got Zangief in the background, and we've got Luke, the new character who, I haven't played enough of Street Fighter 6 to care about. Here's some close-ups. Here's what Luke looks like. And this guy looks just like he came out of the game. And I know that much at least. I played the demo, and you can see he's got some really nice articulation, great sculpt. And this is just one of the many heads he's going to come with. This power blast effect looks really sweet. And so they did a good job with him. I don't really care about Luke enough to pay $90 for him, but it's a really nice looking figure for his fans. Then we've got Ryu, and Ryu looks awesome. He's got a soft goods, what is this? A cape, cloak, whatever he's rocking. That's great that it's soft goods. You can see he's got the texture of his normal gi. He's got his sandals rocking. No need for boots or rocking around like a hobbit anymore. So this looks really solid. Love that expression on his face. He looks stern, serious, ready to go. Then we've got Zangief, and I love this. It really feels like he's gone wrestling all the way. Got some tights this time. He's not rocking shorts anymore, but he's still got the fuzzy hair sticking out from under over his boots. Got the knee pads. Look at this. Mattel could take note of these knee pads though. And he really looks good. This looks like these are actually soft goods. So that is a pretty nice inclusion. And that sculpt looks great. These figures look really solid. So there you go. But of course, if you're going to go, all right, they're going to tackle Street Fighter Alpha 3. Look at all these characters they have to do if they're really going to compete with Jada Toys, because this is the main area where Jada Toys, if they decide to go to Street Fighter Alpha 3, we know they're going to knock that out really quick. So just a real quick count up. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43 characters. There's no way, there's no chance that our friends at Storm Collectibles are going to knock out all of those figures. So then it's a matter of which ones will they do, which ones will they prioritize. There's so many. Alpha 3 is probably the biggest roster, of course, of the Street Fighter Alpha series. So that makes it a kind of an interesting way for them to go to tackle this one first. But we'll see where they go and how they pull this off. But I'm just like, what are the odds they're actually going to get this done and knocked out anytime soon? Because the whole thing is, we know Jada Toys will knock out a figure line. This is the Ultra Street Fighter 2 lineup in full, in total, courtesy of our friends at toyarc.com. So there's everyone. We got DJ, who's up for pre-order now, Fei Long, T-Hawk, Vega, Cammy, M. Bison, Sagat, Balrog, E. Honda, Zangief, Blanca, Ryu, Guile, Dawson, Chun-Li, Ken, even got some evil variants of them too. So they've got everything covered, including Akuma, Violent Ken, Evil Ryu, and then we got some more variants, Chun-Li. They're gonna knock that out. But is there any reason to think the Storm Collectibles is gonna make anywhere near that kind of a dent? I think that's what's going to be the big issue, because we've seen these figures look really cool, really well done. But I think people are going to go in the end for the figure line that's going to get them more complete with a full lineup of figures. Now, these look really good. It'll be really interesting to compare this Storm Collectible Storm Arena Ryu and Ken to our basic Jada Toys Ryu and Ken. Of course, if they don't get to it, them knocking out Alpha 3 first before Jada Toys could lead more collectors to go this route. And then Jada Toys is playing catch up. So we'll see. I am very excited to see who's going to merge King of the Hill on this one. Both of these figures look great, and the Storm Arena thing could really switch things back in Storm Collectibles' favor. What do you all think? Are you looking forward to getting these Storm Arena figures, especially since the price point is far more comparable to Jada Toys than the massive scale versions that we've been collecting in the past? As always, thank you so much for watching. Appreciate it. And we'll be back on for the live edition on Thursday night. Till then, this episode of Lyle's Figure Files has been filed.